The era of Western hegemony is crumbling as a new titan rises from the heart of the global South. By June 2026, the narrative has shifted. Africa is no longer just participating in the global economy, it is redefining it. This isn't just a trend, it is a fundamental shift in the world's power structure. Today, we are stripping away the myths and looking at the raw data of African sovereignty. We are exploring the transition from a continent of untapped potential to one of realized dominance. From the industrial corridors of Nigeria and the tech hubs of Kenya to the energy revolution across the Sahara, Africa is moving with a speed that has left global observers stunned. In this deep dive, we will analyze the economic indicators, the geopolitical shifts in the African Union, and the reality of how Africa is securing its own future, independent of traditional Western oversight. To understand where we are today, we must look back at the scars of the past. For over a century, the narrative of Africa was written by outsiders who saw the continent as a warehouse of raw materials, a resource to be extracted and exported. The 1884 Berlin Conference set a precedent of exploitation that lasted for generations. However, the late 20th century birthed a counter-movement. The push for independence wasn't just about flags and anthems, it was about reclaiming the agency over African resources. Fast forward to the early 21st century, where the extractive model began to fail. Western powers realized that the world's transition to green energy required minerals found predominantly in Africa: cobalt, lithium, and copper. This realization gave African nations a new seat at the table. They no longer had to ask for permission, they became essential partners. The construction of local refineries, the development of internal trade routes, and the rise of intra-African trade have started to dismantle the old colonial maps. Africa is building its own roads, its own power grids, and its own digital infrastructure. Now, let us look at the current landscape as we stand in mid-2026. The numbers are staggering. While many Western economies struggle with aging demographics and stagnant growth, Africa boasts the world's youngest, most dynamic workforce. This demographic dividend is fueling a massive explosion in the tech sector. In Lagos, startups are solving logistics problems for millions. In Nairobi, mobile money has become the gold standard for financial inclusion. But it goes deeper than just apps. It's about infrastructure. The expansion of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, is creating a single market of over 1.3 billion people. This is no longer a collection of fragmented markets, it is becoming a unified economic powerhouse. Before we move into the specific players making this happen, do me a favor, like this video, help more Africans see this story. We need to break the algorithm and ensure the truth about our rising power reaches every household from Cairo to Cape Town. Who are the architects of this change? It isn't just one country, it is a coordinated movement of regional blocs. The African Union, AU, has pivoted toward strategic autonomy. They are negotiating with global powers not as subordinates, but as equals. Look at how nations like Ethiopia and Egypt are positioning themselves as logistics hubs for the entire continent. Look at how South Africa is leveraging its mineral wealth to lead the global energy transition while demanding fair terms from Western corporations. We see a shift in how trade is conducted. Instead of raw materials flowing out to Europe and Asia only to be sold back as finished products, African nations are insisting on local processing. This value-add model is the cornerstone of modern Pan-Africanism. It means that when we mine lithium for your phones or cobalt for your electric vehicles, we aren't just shipping it away, we are building the factories here. We are creating the jobs here. The West is beginning to realize that they cannot simply take what they want anymore, they must partner with Africa on African terms. What does this mean for our future? It means a multipolar world where Africa holds a permanent, unshakable seat at the table. We are moving toward a reality where Made in Africa is a hallmark of quality and innovation. The transition to renewable energy, the revolution in agricultural technology, and the rise of a unified African currency and trade policy mean that by 2030, the global center of gravity will have shifted significantly eastward and southward. This is our moment. We are moving from a narrative of potential to one of power. The era of asking for permission is over, the age of African leadership has begun. Subscribe for honest, Pan-African analysis you won't find on CNN or BBC. We don't just report the news, we tell the truth about our continent's rise. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Which African country do you believe is making the most significant strides toward economic independence right now? Let's start a conversation about our shared future. Check out this next video where we break down the specific tech boom in West Africa, and don't forget to stay tuned as we continue to track the rise of the African giant. The journey is just beginning,